In the studio, we've got Brother Blessing, and I know, Brother Blessing, you're just going to be around on the platform, sharing with us, giving us, and discussing about issues going around. Man, we were talking earlier, and you told me about something you have chosen to take part actively in. Can you share with us what that is?
Thank you for having us, and thank you for having me in the studio today. The thing is, in this modern era that we're living in, we find that there is a need that is, especially amongst my generation, there is a pressing need that is amongst my generation right now that is getting more and more severe, more and more prominent, and basically it's getting to a point where it's almost specific to my generation, specific to this generation that's growing up in what's supposed to be a super connected world, and yet people are feeling more and more isolated.
And they're detached.
Detached from one another, because people are on the apps, people are on the phones, people are in the cyberspace, but nobody's actually interacting in the real world, in the tangible world. So the old sense of community, the old sense of family, the old sense of team, etc., all of those things are getting more and more eroded, whereas more people are defaulting towards the cyber world and apps and things like that. And this is getting to a point where we're finding that more and more people of my generation are feeling enclosed, are feeling isolated, when they actually could be part and parcel of groups of people who can support them, support their visions, support their dreams. And we're getting to this point where even now, as we're speaking, it has been identified even by the Victorian Police Citizen Youth Club that there are pressing issues that are affecting the younger people, the younger generation, that are present with us now that weren't there a couple of years ago because of the conditions we're in.
Right.
And basically, they have started what they call the Victorian Police Citizen Youth Club and the Street Smart Initiative, which is basically what has come to my attention as an initiative that is of note, and that has basically caught my eye, and the one that I've jumped into.
So why, Brother Blessing, have you chosen to take such an active part in this program?
Okay, for me, I personally know what it feels like to have a vision, to have a goal, to have a dream, and to try and press towards something when you're in a room with many people that don't share the vision, that don't share the dream. And then you find yourself, even though you're in a room full of people, you're alone.
Exactly.
You're alone because there are no like-minded people. And the more people are not actually interacting with one another, the less likely it is that you bump into people of the same mind. And so I know what that feels like. I know that it's hard to try and live to your full potential when you're in a room filled with people with other agendas.
Yes.
So
we're in the same room too.
Correct. So we find ourselves in a situation where, well, I'm finding myself in a situation where after hearing this, I said, I can do something about this.
All right.
I can be part of a little bit of a movement to try and at least shine the light and say, you don't have to be alone. For people who are, for example, spiritually minded, it's unfashionable. It's almost not relevant in this modern era that we're in, just because nobody's talking about it.
It looks as if a lot of people are becoming atheists and stuff like that. What's going on?
People have decided to go with logic and with facts and things like that, and they've chosen to disregard altogether the things that make up the inner person. There's things that we take for granted. For example, love. Everybody who's concentrating on the material things will say that no, we can't, anything that you can't quantify or anything that you can't measure or weigh, it doesn't exist. But I'd say, well, don't you have love for your mother? Don't you have love for your brother, for your sister? Could you, if I gave you $300, could you go and buy me $300 worth of love? You can't quantify certain things, but they're there. And I'm saying that on the spiritual realm, for the people who are spiritually minded, there are things that are actually there that are available, but because people can't quantify them, they tend to take them as though they don't exist. But these things are necessary for the growing of a person who can thrive, to have goals, to have visions, to have things that drive you on the inside. It's absolutely necessary. And so I have chosen to take part in this because I believe that the generation that I am in and the future generations will definitely rely on people who have visions that are bigger than themselves, bigger than the small screen, bigger than the current chat or the trend that's going through.
Now that there might be people who are out there who share the same vision and drive that you have, how can they take part in the action?
Yeah, so we are going to actually be up and about in the coming weeks.
All right.
Actually physically walking through the neighborhood, definitely outreaching to the neighborhood, letting everybody know that they don't have to be alone anymore. People who are spiritually minded, people who have questions about the things that people can't measure, people who are moving around with heaviness inside them. We are out there and up and about saying, you don't have to feel alone. Many times you find people finding themselves in a corner and next thing they're being clinically diagnosed with depression and things like that. But sometimes it's just a lack of community, a lack of support.
Exactly.
And all they needed was another listening ear and a group of people to say, I hear you.
So are you going to be approaching people, or people can just approach you when you're outreaching?
Yeah.
How does it happen?
So we've chosen the stance of saying, let's make ourselves available to the people so that when you see us up and about, you can come to us and ask the questions. Those questions that you're having a hard time sharing or asking somebody who's probably not even inclined to answering because they don't believe it exists or it's not a problem. Come to us, come ask us the questions, come ask for our experiences, and we can come and share those experiences that we've had that may be relevant to you, and we can be there to support you, to actually provide a platform and a group that can support you if you're of that mindset, if you're of that inclination as well.
All right, so far those who are interested in what you're doing and want to take part, where is this all going to start happening?
Okay, so as of this weekend, we are going to be mainly in the Cranbourne and Narrawarren area.
So if you're saying this weekend, you mean this Saturday, the 26th of October.
That's the one.
2019.
Correct. So as of this Saturday, we are going to be up and about in the community. We're going to be in Cranbourne and in Narrawarren.
That's shopping centers.
The shopping centers, and we're going to be walking through there.
How can people identify you? They will definitely.
Well, in this instance, they will find us because we have a slogan and we have a question to ask everybody, and that question is, "How can I pray for you today?" And basically, that's when you see a T-shirt that says, "How can I pray for you today?" It's one of us, and we'll be asking that question because we want to give you the opportunity.
That's a big question, no?
It's a big question because that can cover anything. That can cover anything: a physical problem, an emotional problem, a question that you might have had.
It gets you thinking too.
Exactly. So if you see those T-shirts going around, that's one of us. That's where we are, and we are putting ourselves out there, making ourselves available to you, the community, to come out there and ask the tough questions, the questions that mom doesn't want to answer or dad doesn't want to answer, or your sister or your friends think is unfashionable. Come and ask those questions and see whether we in our group have had any similar experiences that we may be able to share with you, and we may be able to be there for you to support you, because sometimes all you need is somebody to listen and say, I know what you're going through. And that's what we're going to be doing. We'll be going through there and actively listening to what you're going through, but also being people who are spiritually minded. We are going to put our hearts and our intentions and our efforts into making your problem our problem and praying with you.
So that's Cranbourne Shopping Center.
That's the one.
That's Narrawarren Shopping Center.
Yeah. So I think we're going to be Cranbourne Shopping Center. We're also going to be at the KC Central Shopping Center, and in Narrawarren as well. We're going to be in the shopping centers there. So it'll be sporadic throughout the day. But when you see those T-shirts moving around, feel free to come over and have those chats.
Ask,
yep,
you know, what's going on, guys.
It's an open question. Yes, how can I pray for you? And yeah, basically, it's open. It's an open question. You bring your questions to us, and we'll see how we can help.
Brother Blessing, we'll be happy to have you back soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
God bless.
God bless.